College professors are often criticized for living an insulated life in an ivory tower. That's why tenured professors are often given paid time off to go back into the real world for research. But citizens fed up with footing the bill now are asking about all of these subsidized vacations. NBC's Roger O'Neill tonight.
Under increasing pressure from state lawmakers, the University of Colorado has abolished paid leaves of absence. Sabbatical policies for faculty will also be limited. The university came under fire when a $91,000 a year vice chancellor planned to take 8 months off with pay to study Shakespeare. Across the country, tax-supported colleges and universities are being told to change the way they do business.
The public wants us to pay far more attention to students, to our teaching and learning agenda, and probably spend less time on our research.
The average college teacher spends just 10 hours a week in the classroom. How tenured faculty at most universities spend their time has been one of those sacred cows until now. Senior faculty in Arizona have been ordered to teach more freshman, sophomore courses. Professors in Florida will be paid more for teaching big classes. In Ohio, tenured faculty will be expected to teach more. And Oregon wants university professors to increase their accessibility to students. In Colorado, a sabbatical with pay is guaranteed every 6 years. Professor Larry Dodd is taking 2 semesters off to write 2 books.
I think one needs to move back and forth between heavy focus on teaching, a heavy focus on research, and intellectual rejuvenation.
But the question is, do students benefit from their teachers taking time off?
Universities are in the knowledge business. And that means that from time to time, it's important to really update one's skills and abilities.
But in this report, just issued by a panel of corporate CEOs, labor leaders, and educators, higher education got failing grades. Too many colleges, the report said, worry more about faculty research than educating students. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Boulder, Colorado.
A federal judge approved a settlement today under which General Motors would send 6 million owners of its pickup trucks coupons, good for a $1,000 rebate on a new truck. The owners had sued GM, saying that allegations about gas tank safety decreased their truck's value. The Center for Auto Safety says that it will appeal this settlement and try to force GM to modify those trucks. When we come back, one town in Israel, a symbol of the struggle for peace between Arabs and Israelis. Talk of new delays in the Middle East peace process tonight. Israel's Prime Minister Rabin said that he won't meet PLO leader Yasser Arafat again until he's sure they can resolve differences on a plan for Palestinian self-rule. NBC's Martin Fletcher tonight on one town that is ground zero in this struggle.
It's the most explosive town in the occupied West Bank, Hebron, where in the heart of the city, 41 Jewish families live among 80,000 Arabs and refuse to leave. Where it is not today's peace process that rules, but the Bible's command of an eye for an eye. It's written in the Bible that 3,500 years ago, Abraham, father of the Jews and Arabs, bought this land for 400 shekels. For the fundamentalist Jews who live here in Hebron today, that means it's their land, and they say they're staying. On one side of the street, in a virtual fortress called Beit Hadassah, 17 of those Jewish families live behind the guns and by the book.
I don't want my children to grow up and die at a war. Of course I want peace, but this isn't peace. This is an illusion.
Israeli soldiers guard the settlers from the Arabs who live just across the street. But Amishugri Sharabati, an Arab, says she's the one who needs protection.
The settlers are all the time intimidating us. They are terrorizing us and our children.
Children learn early the language of hate. Arabs throw stones and bottles. An Israeli child tries to strike a passing Arab. Another spits at an Arab woman. Soldiers try to keep the peace and increasingly fail. To survive, the settlers of Hebron believe they have to terrify the Arabs or be killed themselves. Most Israelis dismiss these settlers as dangerous fanatics, but also fear them as obstacles to the peace process. The settlers' answer to the peace process is more settlers. Despite the dangers, another Jewish family moves into Beit Hadassah, teaching another generation that this city of Abraham belongs to the Jews, at whatever the price. Martin Fletcher, NBC News, Hebron, on the Israeli-occupied West Bank.
American combat troops are on their way home from Somalia tonight. 450 soldiers are heading back to Fort Drum, New York. Another 2,000 are expected home before Christmas. When we come back, the man behind that huge gift to public education today, Walter Annenberg, an American Close Up tonight. In American Close Up tonight, Walter Annenberg, the billionaire who today gave $500 million to challenge others to help American public education. He's been a friend of presidents and American ambassador to Great Britain, but with today's gift, he secures his place as a great philanthropist who is moved by what he sees. Mr. Ambassador, this is an extraordinary gift. What do you hope to achieve?
Well, quite frankly, I hope to achieve an awakening of the public as to what has to be done for the benefit of our country.
This is not the first time Annenberg has made news with big contributions to education. Just last June, he gave away $365 million to 4 schools, the largest one-time gift ever made to private education. 3 years earlier, Annenberg gave $50 million to the United Negro College Fund. What is it that so touches you that makes you give this extraordinary gift? You're a very private man to put yourself in such a public way into this public issue.
Well, I'll tell you very frankly, I have been very favorably blessed economically. Accordingly, I have a great obligation to my country.
His own fortune grew from the newspaper empire started by his father, a Jewish immigrant. Walter Annenberg added radio and television, and he made a great deal of money in the post-war boom. In those early days of television, he created TV Guide, which quickly became America's best-selling magazine. Annenberg finally sold his Triangle Publications 5 years ago for more than $3 billion. 5 presidents have been entertained at Sunnylands, Annenberg's 250-acre oasis near Palm Springs, and his art collection is considered to be one of the finest in the world. But his primary interest these days is education. He's disturbed by the wave of violence among the country's young people.
When we read about grade school students and high school students carrying knives and revolvers into the classroom, if you're not moved by that, then you've got a very thick skin.
He is moved enough to give nearly $1 billion to this cause in just 1 year, keeping at bay so many other charities who would like a piece of his considerable fortune. Don't you hear from a great many people, Mr. Annenberg, who would like to get some of your money?
Why, I'm under siege. Don't you know the story of life? Harassment is just around the corner.
But it's better if you can afford it.
Oh, yes. It helps to soften things.
Ambassador Annenberg hopes that his gift today will start a crusade in this country, that other foundations, corporations, and also his rich friends will join in. That's Nightly News for this Friday night. Brian Williams will be here tomorrow night. Sunday in Meet the Press, Tim Russert's guest will be Treasury Secretary Lloyd Bentsen. I'll see you back here again Monday night.